Arasimowicz.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for suspension of our rules for immediate consideration of House Joint Resolution 87.
Is there objection? Hearing none, the rules are suspended. Will the clerk please call and read House Joint Resolution 87?
LCO number 5432, House Joint Resolution number 87, introduced by Representatives Miller, Cafero, Sharkey, and Arasimowicz, and Senators Williams, Looney, and Kelly. Resolution recognizing Connecticut as first in flight. Resolved by this Assembly. Whereas the first man-controlled flight of a powered, heavier-than-air aircraft was reported in Fairfield, Connecticut on August 14, 1901, and whereas Gustave Whitehead piloted his number 21 aircraft for approximately 1/2 mile at a height of approximately 50 feet and landed safely, and whereas he resided in the towns of Bridgeport and Fairfield at the time of the first flight and was a resident of Fairfield County until his death in 1927, and whereas his flight of the number 21 aircraft occurred more than 2 years before the famous flight of the Wright Brothers at Kitty Hawk in 1903, and whereas he reportedly completed numerous other man-controlled flights of powered, heavier-than-air aircrafts throughout the state of Connecticut between 1901 and 1903. And whereas Gustave Whitehead was the
Mr. Clerk,
first...
if you'll suspend for just a moment. The clerk's standing right in front of me, and I can't hear him, so if we could just keep the tone down until the clerk finishes reading this, and then we can go to making a motion on it. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, please continue.
And whereas Gustave Whitehead was the first in a series of aviation pioneers in the state of Connecticut, and whereas his flight paved the way for Connecticut to be a leader in aviation innovation, now, therefore, be it resolved that the Connecticut General Assembly recognizes Connecticut as the location of the first manned-controlled flight of a powered, heavier-than-air aircraft. Be it further resolved that the clerks of the House of Representatives and the Senate cause a copy of this resolution to be transmitted to the family of Gustave Whitehead and to the Connecticut Air and Space Center in Stratford.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The distinguished Republican leader of the House of Representatives, Representative Cafero.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the first time in my 22 years, I get to say I move adoption.
Questions on adoption. Will you remark, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in the waning days of session, there's a lot that goes on or doesn't go on. Politics plays its role, of course. One of the reasons I'm so proud to be part of this chamber is the resolution that is before you was introduced primarily by Representative Larry Miller. Larry Miller, a longtime 24-year veteran, I believe, of this chamber, unfortunately has not been with us the last couple of weeks because of an illness, and we're all very hopeful for his good health and speedy recovery and that he joins us as soon as possible. Knowing that the hours are ticking away to our session and knowing the importance of our dear member, Larry Miller, the Speaker of the House, the Majority Leader of the House, the President Pro Tem of the Senate, the Majority Leader of the Senate, myself and Senator Kelly have co-sponsored this bill, frankly, on behalf of Larry Miller. Larry Miller is a very proud resident of the state of Connecticut. And I know for a fact, galled him, if you will, that the Wright Brothers were always touted as the first in flight. In fact, the state of North Carolina has that saying emblazoned on their license plates. And Larry Miller, with a lot of research and a lot of determination, I believe has proved that the Wright Brothers were the second in flight. And that, in fact, Gustave Whitehead of Connecticut was the first in flight. And it is for that reason that this resolution is before us. So, of course, I thank the Speaker, Majority Leader, and all those who are making the passage of this resolution possible. But most importantly, I want to thank Larry Miller, who unfortunately can't be with us today, for his determination and tenacity in making sure that the world knows that, in fact, Connecticut is first in flight. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. I know there's about 25 people who want to ask some questions. Is that okay?
Mr. Speaker, I'd expect nothing less.
We'll start with me. How are you doing, Representative Cafero? Will you remark further? Will you mark further? If you're ready for the question, would staff and guests please come to the wall of the House. Members, take your seats. The machine will be open.
The House of Representatives is voting by roll. The House of Representatives is voting by roll. Will members please report to the chamber immediately?